Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am checking my volumes. This part of the show is dedicated to Mr. B, who hates it when I check my volumes. I had to go run some errands, and so I'm kind of late getting to this second video. It looks like the market has come back some, 2.69 trillion up here on the total market. Bitcoin did cross 72,000 earlier. XRP has been up. It's up almost 5% today. It's up over 62 cents. Then we've got this from eGrad Crypto, XRP, the life-changing triangle. Ooh, I didn't know we had life-changing triangle. Even without being a TA expert, one look at the ascending triangle on the monthly time frame screams bullish. It's time to play smart. Rotate those profits into XRP, accumulate more, and then just sit back and wait for the magic to happen. XRP stays steady. The measured move of ascending triangle could potentially reach either 17 or 27. And what is this? Inshallah? I don't even know what that means, but I hope that his analysis is correct. Looks like Anthony Scaramucci says Bitcoin halving is still not priced in, predicts $170,000 Bitcoin for this cycle. And remember, they say that the price on Bitcoin goes up for I want to say it's in Bitcoin and altcoins for 6 months after the halving is what I've always heard. Now, I've been doing a lot of retweeting of the Fruition Productions XRP Unleashed documentary, because it's gotten to 1.1 million views. So there's no question at this point that this documentary is going to be successful. Now it's just a matter of making the different streaming platforms aware of it. But I wanted to pose some questions, give the whole XRP army a shout out, which includes everybody. Sleuths, builders, influencers, everybody adds to the equation. Anyone who has something to say. This is just a trailer. What would 1 million views do to help spread awareness of XRP, your brand, your product, your service? When this goes on a platform like Netflix or one of the others, it could literally get millions and millions of views. And so I said, step one, go to XRP Las Vegas. Tickets are in the description. If you're in DAIXRP.com, there's a discount at the top. And then I said, step two, look for the Fruition Films crew, because they're going to be at XRP Las Vegas filming. Don't be left on the wrong side of history. Folks, you can complain about the documentary all you want to your 30 friends in a negative Twitter X spaces or whatever. But I think it would be more to your benefit to be in a documentary that is getting over 1 million views on the trailer alone. And to those behind the documentary, to those involved in the documentary, don't be distracted by criticism. Remember, the only taste of success some people have is when they take a bite out of you. That's a Zig Ziglar quote. So what I did to try to help the documentary people along, this is kind of what we did during ETHgate. I went and I found some of the important people from these streaming services. Like Netflix, for instance, I went and found their CEO is Ted Sarandos, and so I copied him. Reed Hastings, executive chair at Netflix, added him in there, did the same. I couldn't find anybody for Hulu. So I copied in as many people from these different streaming places or any other handles that were related to them that I could. I would say to everybody out there, if you know, because I'm in contact with the people that are producing this film at Fruition Productions. If you have any contacts at any of these major streaming platforms, shoot me an email and put it in the subject line. I'm not going to click on any links. So give me a name, give me a legit way to get in touch with one of these people. And I'm not going to release their name publicly or anything. I'm going to let the documentary people know so they can call them directly. My email is digitalassetinvestor2018@gmail.com. Make sure you put like Netflix contact or such and such. Put their name, their title, a phone number, email address, whatever it is that will help us get in touch with them. And I will give that to the guys at Fruition Films, because it is to the advantage of everybody in the XRP community for this to be seen by 50 million people or more on one of these platforms. Why wouldn't you try to help in that? Now, Subjective Views has an interesting little clip here. This is the Citigroup head of their digital asset division. Her name is Ryan Rugg. She is helping to drive digital ecosystems. I don't know if she works there. I think digital assets for treasury and trade solutions at Citi. And then, of course, Chris Giancarlo, who will be at XRP Las Vegas. Listen to what they say.
Group. And I'm fascinated by digital currency. You probably know, and certainly I'm sure your listeners know, over 130 countries right now are at work on central bank digital currency. 50 are in advanced stages of development. The UN predicts that by 2030, we will have at least 14 retail CBDCs and 9 wholesale in operation. 19 of the G20 are working on this right now. China's already placed their digital currency in 260 million wallet holders and is banning competition by blocking crypto. And so whether the United States adopts a digital currency or not, it's almost irrelevant. CBDC is coming and Americans are going to be dealing with it. But stablecoins are also coming as well. And that's an important innovation as well. And that may be, at least for now, the free world's response, or at least America's response to this innovation. The future will feature both CBDC and stablecoins. The real question we need to be asking is, what are the value sets inherent in that? Are we going to leave it to the value sets of closed societies like China, which contain within them surveillance and censorship? Or are we going to assert our own value sets, values in our Constitution about economic liberty and freedom of speech, freedom of expression? We're not really at the global table right now. The global standards are being set, and the standards that are being set are being made safe for surveillance and censorship. China is insisting that those global standards contain their value proposition. We, the democracies, need to show up at that table, as we did with the first wave of the internet, an open internet architecture, and insist that the architecture of the digital money of the future contains our value sets. And that's really why I founded something called the Digital Dollar Foundation. We launched the Digital Dollar Project. And the question we ask is, how do we future-proof the dollar? How do we best enhance its reserve currency status? And how do we do it with the values that the dollar stands for in the global world of free markets, of free enterprise, of independent economic activity? And how do we do that in a world that is values quickly moving to both decentralized and centralized systems of value? Some of those centralized systems of value run by government, and some run by big tech companies that will be very susceptible to government pressure to do the government's job, serve some government interests or political interests in censorship and surveillance.
He makes a good point. Right now they're pressuring the social media outlets on what you can and can't say. So the last thing you want is a CBDC for them to be able to do the same thing with regard to something like that. Here's another interesting conversation. This is Volanti, who's a Ripple partner, conversation with Citi about the new faster payment regulation in the EU.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, especially, and I can say from my own personal experience that the confirmation that the payment has gone through is a real big use case, because I want to know, was my bill paid on time if I waited till Friday afternoon, or is my brokerage account going to be funded so I can purchase some stocks or ETFs or whatever, or I want to be exactly sure that the person that I'm paying has received the money, and that I don't have to say, oh well, it could be 2-3 days depending on the weekend, holidays, and bank cutoff times, which as a consumer I have no idea about what a bank cutoff time is, right? Declan, are you seeing this from Citi's perspective given that you guys are such a large bank and active all over the world, are you seeing this? Does this ring true in your experience in other markets as well?
Yeah, I would say so. I think regulatory mandated schemes tend to have higher adoption as a rule. Now, like I said in the first answer, a regulatory mandate, the 100% universal reachability helps, but it's not the whole thing. You need to have the right capabilities. You need to have the right products that your customers can use and the right backup to make it consistent, especially if there's a remaining very successful transaction product sitting next to it, like SEPA has in terms of SEPA credit transfers. So this regulation is going to help. It will bring us forward in that respect, but there's other things that the banks need to do. So what do I mean by that? I mean, the API solutions need to sit by this are critical as well to really maximize the benefits. That's one of the ways we need to go. So that's one of the things we see. I suppose the other thing to note here, I think, that probably is being pushed with the regulation is universal rails for instant payments then start driving the next generation of products as well. So I think
universal rails,
Seeing this out across Europe is really developing critical infrastructure effectively for future opportunities or future functionality that people can use. So I think there's a few different areas that the regulation is driving at, but so I think it will lead to greater usage, but on its own it won't. It needs good partners to make that happen, and consumer use cases and corporate use cases.
All righty. Now look, I wanted to remind everybody that Uphold, they have their Uphold Vault, and they started it just with XRP. They're about to add, I think they're adding another or some more to the vault, and if I was betting, XLM will be one of the next ones to be added to the vault, but look forward to finding out which. In DAIXRP.com, we're going to talk about one of the lightning rod issues, and that is one thing that makes, if I've learned anything, there's one thing that makes everybody so mad anytime that anybody says it's not for us. XRP is not for us. It's not for retail. Well, that idea did not come out of nowhere. That concept did not come out of nowhere. It came from out of the mouths of somebody from Ripple. It's not the first time I've heard it. I've heard it several times. And so I don't know when I say it's not for us, or what I think of when I hear somebody say it's not for us, but they're not saying that doesn't mean you can hold it. That doesn't mean you can have it. I think that what I've always felt like it meant was that they needed retail to prototype this thing, just like the way Bitcoin and Ethereum were being prototyped. They needed retail so that this thing could live in the wild for the last 10 years for testing and everything else. And so, and I don't mean when I think of that, I don't think of it in terms of you can't hold it. I think of it in terms of, because they needed retail to hold it at first and to test it and all this stuff, you're the one of the lucky ones that gets to hold it if you want to. But I think at the same time they know that when this thing crosses about $5-10, most of the retail's out anyway. All right, I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family. Here we go into DAIXRP.com.